gentlemen, everyone, welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTuber, signing off and imitated never duplicated superstar Vicious in. Gonna go over RAW this week. Was in Hartford, Connecticut, and well, before we get into the show, do want to go over a few big things. This was a bit of a very odd wrestling week. You know, this is also a very special episode because not only is this the last episode of the decade, it is also the 365th episode. So if you want to do some form of torture that would make the people at Gitmo proud of you, just sit somebody down, get one of those eye things like the dude had in Clockwork Orange, and make them watch one episode of this show every day for an entire calendar year. Because now this is episode 365. We got now enough to do one whole calendar year. Next week will be for the leap year. And now, the news. Well, some big news that happened. News came out the other day. It was on, I believe it was Friday or Saturday that passed before the recording of this episode. Apparently footage came out that one Lars Sullivan participated in some bit of adult erotica, if you will. Okay, I'm just going to get right down to it because I am horrible at doing puns like this shit. Video came out that he did gay porn. A lot of people are saying, yeah, now, a lot of people are slamming him for it because, well, all the shit that he said on those message boards, being racist and homophobic, and then doing this and this. Still, I don't approve of anything Lars said on those boards whatsoever. That being said, though, seriously, who gives a shit if he did those movies? I mean, seriously, people are going to be so fucking caught in their own opinion about somebody, whether they like them or not. I mean, because, and this is going to be a real horrible example, but I want you to just think about the example itself, and it's going to prove the point. Let's just say Lars Sullivan wound up finding a fucking cure for cancer, AIDS, and every bad disease out there in the world. People would still fucking shit on him. You know? And whether they feel rightfully justified to do so, that is their opinion, and they are more than welcome to it. Me, I'm indifferent. I don't like the guy, but I also don't hate the guy. So, you know, as Daniel Day-Lewis once said in Gangs of New York, you are neither cold nor warm, so I spit you out. I got no view on him one way or another. Also, today, as of the day of this recording, Melina, Melina kind of went off on Twitter on a few different people. Well, not on a few different people, I should say, I'm sorry, but went off on Twitter talking about on how she is defending this one wrestler who wound up making passes and tried to get a little touchy-feely on another dude in the locker room, and a lot of people have been getting on her ass about that, saying you're backing up a dude who is being accused of being a sexual predator. Really? Now, I just want you to think about this. This is the second time within a good 10-year span, Melina has put out something on Twitter that pretty much blew up the world, blew up the wrestling world, wrestling Twitter, so to say, because let's not forget her infamous tweeting a picture of Johnny Nitro Morrison, Mundo Impact Esquire the 23rd's little blue pillows, and then immediately afterwards saying on how she hated social media because of all the backlash she got. She hasn't said that yet on this one, but excuse me. Either way, this one I do got a strong opinion on, and honestly, Zelina, honey, I'm sorry, but you're backing the wrong course in this race. If you want to feel that way, you're more than welcome to, you know. But seriously, there are times when you need to know when not to say something. Or at the very least, not say it online. And yeah, I think that's one of those times. Now that we're done with all that shit, let's switch gears, go into last week with the SmackDown Rewind. Big highlights from last week's episode. Hyping up Braun Strowman Nakamura Intercontinental. Nothing's been officially said as of yet. However, all signs are leading to that eventually happening at the Royal Rumble. Also, Daniel Bryan won the #1 contendership match for the Universal title, so it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend at Royal Rumble, which takes away what I was predicting. If you saw last week, I was saying Miz wins and then Bryan wins the Rumble. I thought that would have been a lot better, but where it goes from here, I'm not sure. Maybe they stretch that out until Mania still, but if they do, that's going to be a hell of a stretch, you know? Because now it's just wondering where you're going to go, how do you take it farther from here? But other than that, no other real big stories are being built up at this moment. We still got the Lacey-Sasha feud starting up, you know. You got New Day doing stuff with Carmella now, which is giving her more face time, and that's always good to see. And Otis is still hands down the luckiest and hands down the most luckiest man in wrestling, and also the one man every wrestling fan is probably all jealous of because of getting to be near Mandy Rose. And let's all be honest, the Otis Mandy Rose love story is a hell of a lot more, well, I would say it was a lot more entertaining than the Lashley Lana one, but we'll get into that later in this episode. Now with that said, let's get into the show. It starts off Owens coming down, hyping up on how he's pissed off because the AOP beat the shit out of him and then beat the shit out of Joe, and then they beat the shit out of Ray, and now he wants blood, he wants the AOP. Seth comes down with them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Kev, you don't understand the burden that I have being the leader, being the Messiah that I am. Hold it! Now, Seth, I like you, bud. I don't want to call gimmick infringement because, you know, I've been saying for several years now on how I am the YouTube Messiah. I don't want you go, and, you know, I also got that right there saying Tim Vicious is Messiah. And we're not doing a Life of Brian reference right here. But either way, I don't want to call gimmick infringement on you, Seth, but I will if I gotta. Now, eventually Owens, he just says screw it, goes in there and starts pounding it, going and taking it to AOP. Next thing you know, Joe comes out, pissed off. Them two start working on AOP. Seth comes in, evens the numbers, and then Owens, and yeah, then you get the security teams breaking everything up. Big brawl, brouhaha, all great and good. At the end, Charlie Caruso interviewed Joe. Joe pretty much put it into words, simplifying it, saying, Seth, you forced me to have to go and defend somebody. You pushed me into this dilemma. Now I am backing him up. The idea of Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe as a team just screams money because of on how freaking athletic both those guys are for their size and build. You know? And then security comes in, goes to try and escort them out, and Joe just looks at him like, I'm gonna make it simple. Any of you guys put a hand on me, you ain't gonna eat with your own hands ever again. And Joe is a legit fucking badass that you do not want to fucking mess with. Because I guarantee that dude really could fucking smash those dudes' hands in and make them work and make them regret that. That said, let's get into the first match of the night. Rematch from TLC, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy. Did not disappoint one bit. Great pace, absolutely loved it. Loved Black, he was leading after the break. There was really good back and forth. Liked on how Black was targeting Murphy's one knee, and Murphy, he was showing that it was like tweaked and it was hurting and it was stinging. You know, this was really good, you know. Now, and I'm not disappointed with the amount of time that they had, but all I was thinking was, while I was watching it, man, these guys would have just had an extra 10 to 15 more minutes. Could you imagine what the hell they could have done? That would have fucking been something. Now, the match came to an end with Black. He did the Black Mass to Buddy Murphy twice. He had to hit him with it twice to get him to not stay down. After that, 1, 2, 3. So, now, while I absolutely love that, personal take, Buddy Murphy needs to be a fucking made guy now. Because of the fact. You look back to when he was on SmackDown, the matches he delivered with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns there. Look on now with the matches he delivered here. He is a fucking solid workhorse, man. He needs to be a fucking made guy. As far as Black goes, my biggest worry is where the hell are you going to go from here? You're making him to be this unstoppable striking monster. Where, you know, and that's just my big concern. Next matchup, we got Erick going against a local jobber. And the jobber was smart enough to not go near the box, because we all want to know, what's in the box? What's in the box? There's the 7 reference for the night. And yeah, other than that, it was just a basic murder. Next up, we got Charlotte out in the ring. She cuts a promo saying on how she's officially entering herself into the Women's Royal Rumble, and excuse me, on how she's issuing an open challenge to anyone in the back to take her on to see if they can step up to the Queen. And out comes Natayla. Thank God she did not have a microphone though. I have absolutely nothing against Natayla with her in-ring work, and I'm sure when her time comes, when she has to hang the boots up and no longer work in the ring, she will be a hell of a coach, you know, teaching in the ring, teaching new talent. But my God, she is not good. Let's just call a duck and a spade. None of the Harts have never been known for cutting good promos. And that's not to take away from any of them, because, you know, everyone from the Hart family is a hell of a worker. Everyone from the Hart family has been a hell of a worker. There's no denying that. But my God, none of the Harts have ever been known for cutting grade A 5-star promos to where you're like hanging off of every word like, wow. Yeah. Now, as far as this match goes with Charlotte and Natayla, it was a good, solid match. You know, Natty, she was leading for a little bit, and then Truth came in, had a 24/7 chase moment, and then Erick Young went in to try and cut Truth off, and Charlotte just, boom, popped him with a boot right to the face. Which, on an unrelated note, EY, man, seriously, grow back the beard, please. Please, EY. Either way, there was some good back and forth in it, but match ultimately came to an end with Charlotte getting the win, doing the figure 8. One thing I noticed, though, with the way the cameras were positioned, Charlotte didn't have her one leg hooked on Natalia's foot that was supposed to be crossed over onto the knee. Just And I'm not splitting hairs and I'm not shitting on it and criticizing, saying, well, that would have been a 5-star match if they would have done. No, I'm just saying. Little weird things that, you know, most people may not notice. Just good eyes, able to pay attention. Like I said, I'm like a wrestling grain man. You know, the way I notice and see things. The way I see and think on things with wrestling. Now, as far as people getting ready to, because we all know people are going to start shitting on the idea of Charlotte's in the Royal Rumble, so obviously she's going to win because, you know, they give her everything. Well, yeah. You know why? She fucking delivers. No different than any other talent that fucking delivers on that kind of level. You know? I hate to say it, but it's the damn truth. You know? Let's take a look at Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, even though she didn't have 10 title reigns like Charlotte had, but compared to how much TV time she had compared to, you know, Victoria or Mickie James or Ivory or China or whoever, she fucking delivered. So, yeah. Next up, we got impromptu tag match. Street Profits going against Gallows, the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. And this came to be because the club, they came out, went to go talk some talk, talking about on how Randy wound up getting hurt, and you know, and how they're there for business, they're the best out there. And then the Street Profits came out saying, oh, y'all are the best, but we beat the best, so doesn't that make us the better than the best? You know, basically. And so yeah, we got an impromptu match with this. Now, pretty okay start, not something, not necessarily one of my favorite. I wouldn't necessarily say this was a great tag match, but it was pretty much what you would expect for like a Monday night. Probably one of the cooler things, though, was on how AJ got kicked out, and then, like, as much as I shit on Jerry Lawler's commentary, rightfully so, he was frickin' putting it over on how AJ got kicked out and saying he was there for moral support. And, yeah. Montez Ford was pretty much the punching bag. Dawkins got the hot tag, cleaned up house. Got good action all around from everyone, you know. These guys know on how to put on a good show. Match came to an end when Dawkins hit the spine buster on Karl Anderson, tagged in Ford. Ford did a frog splash. Boom, 1, 2, 3, that was it. So, yeah. Where they're going to go from here, I don't know. Personal guess, though, we're more than likely going to get a triple threat tag match for the titles between the Good Brothers, the Profits, and the Raiders. Next up, we got a squash match where it's Hawkins and Ryder getting murdered by Drew McIntyre. Yeah. And then we get Andrade killing a local jobber, or is on the verge of, and before I get into that, Andrade, he won the United States title this past Saturday at Madison Square Garden against Rey Mysterio at a house show, which, again, anything can happen in WWE, pal. So yeah, Andrade won, big ups to him. He is now one of, I believe, 6 people to ever hold the IWGP Intercontinental and United States title. You know, I could be wrong, but I know he held the, I know MVP held the IWGP Intercontinental title and the US title. Jericho, obviously. Nakamura. And then Andrade. I could be missing some. If I'm missing any, feel free to say down below or bash me on Twitter for being a fucking idiot or whatever at Tim Vicious. You know the deal. But either way, Andrade, he's just about ready to murder this jobber by giving him a hammerlock DDT on concrete. Ricochet comes out, saves the day. Guy didn't even, saddest part about this murder was the jobber didn't even get a name. He just got announced. The commentators just referred to him as his opponent. That was it. Like, damn, you can't even give him like a fake name like Tom Smith or John Michaels or whatever. You know? Just damn. Either way, Andrade winds up doing that, and then it leads to the last match of the night, Andrade against Ricochet, which this was a really good solid match. Really dug it. Really liked on how Ricochet wound up actually building up a good legitimate comeback, especially after at one point Zelina Vega ripped up the padding. Andrade did a back body drop to Ricochet to land on the concrete, and I don't know, the one thing that kind of freaked me out about that was on how instead of having that normal hard thud that you get, you got that, it almost sounded like a shoebox, like banging on a shoebox, like kind of thud when you heard it. But I don't know, maybe it's just my ears and maybe it's just me, but either way, decent match. I dug the hell out of it. Match came to an end when Ricochet, he was going up, about to do the 630. Zelina Vega pushed him off, and then Andrade got him up. Boom! Hit him with a hammerlock DDT 1, 2, 3. That was it. And then backstage segment, hyping up for next week with Rey Mysterio getting a rematch against Andrade for the U.S. title. So, my money's on Andrade for next week. But either way, now we come to the closing segment of the night. The Bobby Lashley-Lana wedding. And, well, as far as wrestling weddings go, this is probably hands down my second favorite one ever. The first one obviously being Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. But, yeah. Again, as a rule of thumb, if you make me laugh, if you can make me laugh, I can't get mad at you. That's my rule of thumb on it. And this made me laugh hysterically because first off, the man officiating the ceremony looked like a B-movie actor that you would see on a Cinemax softcore porno. Don't ask on how I know what those kind of actors look like, mind you. But next thing you know, like that, and all I kept thinking was, you know, would have really been good if they would have had Eric Bischoff here, because he could have done this ceremony, and he could have done it in 3 minutes. And then when they were exchanging their vows, the way they were doing it, it was funny, because it was like Lana was telling Lashley, no, you say all of this. And while, yes, every bride-to-be has the right to be a ruthless be a bridezilla and be as ruthless as a North Korean dictator preparing for a wedding, as far as a bridezilla goes, Lana was actually pretty tame. You know, but yeah. And then when the guy officiating was saying, if there's any objections, speak now or forever hold your peace, out comes Lana's first wife, which that was pretty funny. And then out came Lashley's first wife, which was also kind of funny. And then the guy, now, if there are any legitimate objections to the wedding, speak now or forever hold your peace. And then out comes Liv Morgan wearing a half-cut sport coat and a sports bra covering up one boob, and talking about on how when she came into WWE, she was infatuated and in love with this superstar, and now she sees them getting married, and she feels heartbroken, and she wants that superstar back. And Lashley's just looking like, whoa, 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 whoa. I've barely said 2 words to you. And then Liv just looks over and says, I wasn't talking to you. So Paul Heyman is taking a page out of the Eric Bischoff book and giving us HLA. I'm not sure if I should be happy or in a state of shock, but the way it was fucking done, I couldn't help but laugh because, honest to God, this is the kind of shit you would see on soap operas when you were a kid, sick as a dog, having to stay home from school. And seeing this kind of shit. I mean, I would see these kind of fucking soap operas on Telemundo when I was a kid, and this shit was fucking hysterical. But yeah, either way, after that, then Lana slapped the taste out of Liv's mouth, threw her out the ring, and then they were officially married. And just after that, Rusev jumps out of the cake that's in the ring, beats the shit out of Lashley, and then Liv comes in, starts beating the shit out of Lana, and then the show fades to black. So, all in all, like I said, as far as wrestling weddings go, this has definitely got to be up there as like my second favorite one, you know? So, that is it for this week's show, folks. Do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure you look for me on the Twitter at Tim Vicious, who also got that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you're going to look for me on my Facebook gimmick, let me know you found me on there from here. On the Twitter at Tim Vicious, I don't think I got pre-John going. Also, big ups to contributor to the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. It's a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, make sure you check out my executive producer, Ali Ben's music. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, such. Details are down there below. Also, you want one of these sweet Ali Rewind shirts? Hit me up and I'll talk to the man for you. Show him some love and support. Don't be afraid to look for him on that Facebook gimmick. Also, Enriquez. And folks, do not forget to check out these cool ass caps right here on the Twitter at Somalian Kitty Killer DSB_IZ. Diabolica RA, Sergeant Curry Pants, Dash MWP, and my homeboy Zeke, TSUNDERE_ZEE. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Dictation is discrimination. Is this our trump card?